sure everyone's aware, it happened about 2 weeks ago, August 24th. Power Trip vocalist, we're both repping Power Trip pretty hard over here, died at the age of 34. He was born in 1986. I think it's been kind of wrongly reported a lot of places, but he was 34.
The Trivium guy said he was 35.
Yeah, he got it wrong. He was 34. There's not, we're 2 weeks out and there's still not any details. And, it doesn't matter. The family hasn't released details.
Yeah,
it's their prerogative. Yeah. Although Greg Gutfield, who did a shout out on the 5.
Isn't that bizarre?
For Fox News.
That is so bizarre that Greg Gutfield is into the Rally Gale.
He announced that he died in his sleep, which I can only imagine he said with the blessing of the family. So.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Take that.
I mean, I know Greg Gutfield is someone you probably, actually probably a lot of you do like, actually. He was, I think he also was a regular host for Dave Brockie back when he used to do that night show.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Gutfield is always kind of like the conservative metal guy.
I guess so. I would never look at him and look at.
But yeah,
that guy's metal.
He did a little segment on Fox.
Yeah, he actually got in trouble for having Dave Brockie on too much because they kind of realized who Dave Brockie was, so they made him stop having.
But we didn't know Riley, but we're big Power Trip fans. Usually when people in the rock and metal world die, we give them a little obituary. But since this one was probably the most important one to us that has died since we started this channel, we wanted to give it a little bit more in depth since we've seen Power Trip multiple times and are really into them. So
yeah. So I saw them like 3 times. I saw them 3 times. I saw them one time without you.
Let's look at the photo.
Yeah. So what do we got here? This is
back when Maledictus took professional concert photos.
Yes. Anyway, this is the first time I saw them. I was doing this is probably 2017. Yeah, 2017. Like it says on the picture. Yeah. So I had gone to that club, that weird room that was underneath Irving Plaza, whatever it was called, the Blue Room.
Webster Hall.
Was that Webster Hall? Irving? No, it was at Webster Hall. Yeah, it was Webster Hall. Yeah, the one that's south of 14th Street. Yeah, Webster Hall. Irving Plaza is north of 14th Street. Under that club that used to be underneath Webster. Actually, Webster Hall had 3 clubs in one. There was one on the first floor. I think it was called the Blue Room or something. I don't know. It wasn't called that. I forgot what it was called. But
all right, move on.
Or the Marlin Room. Was it called the Marlin Room?
No.
Comment down below.
Actually, it was the Marlin Room.
Marlin Room,
It was the one above Webster Hall.
No, it was below.
Right.
It was downstairs.
Tell your story.
No, this is very important.
It was the Marlin Room.
We are in no rush, people. Trust
it was
me.
the Marlin Room.
Marlin Room, right? And I'd seen a couple of bands down there. I was doing concert photography at the time. So I heard Iron Reagan was playing, and this other band that everyone seemed to be talking about called Power Trip. And I was like, who's this Power Trip? I had never heard of them. They were starting to get big. I believe it was 2017. They'd be Album of the Year for metal. I think that was the consensus for everyone. But I had never heard of them before that. And I thought they were some sort of like rap rock band, like some sort of like urban kind of like.
Just by the name.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it was probably something like that, right? Like I had really no idea what they were. And so I go to this show, and I forget who opened this show. It doesn't even matter. But I saw Iron Reagan. It was a pretty rough show, and I'm there to take pictures. And usually shows at the Marlin Room did not have a press pit, did not have a press area, so you were on your own with your expensive camera in a crowd of people that wanted to smash your camera. Not purposely smash your camera, but if you were in the way with your camera, it was getting smashed. And I took a pretty good beating that day, just being up front, basically ground zero, like I was in front center, where all the people were jumping on. So, and I was wearing my glasses, which is I learned after that I started getting contact lenses after that, because wearing your glasses at a show like that is a bad idea. I was wearing glasses just like this, and they got I think it was during Power Trip. Pretty sure it was during Power Trip. They got just smashed off my face and obliterated. I mean, I kind of just came to, and my glasses were gone. I was like, oh, and some pieces of them were on the stage. Pieces of them were elsewhere around the room. And I was like, I guess I'm going to just feel my way home today because I have no glasses anymore. And I was like, oh, that's it for that. And it would prove that every time, I would see Power Trip, something interesting would happen. This was the first time I saw them. And, little did I know that something very dramatic would happen every time, we saw Power Trip. There would be a story for a power trip show, which is just part of the lore of power trip, which is why people love them. It's music that makes something happen. It might be bad, it might be good, but something's gonna happen, something that you're gonna remember. And I'm sure all you people out there probably have a memory from a power trip show you went to. So as you see this picture here, this was I was
tell you were very close.
Yeah, I was right under him. He was sweating on me like he does. And I didn't know who that was. I was like, who's this fucking guy? I was like, oh, that's a cool shirt. I was like, look at this guy with his shirt. This guy is like kind of stuck in the 80s, with his like his attire. And he seemed like some kind of slob to me. So I'm like, who is this guy? Like the way this guy dresses in just like a sweatshirt. Like he doesn't give a fuck. I'm like, I like this. These guys just don't give a fuck. He's like pretty much like in sweatpants. So there we go. I know I was right under this guy. And I got a couple of pictures. I didn't get good pictures. It was very difficult. The Marlin room was always a very dark room, so it was very difficult to take pictures in that room. You had to really. These pictures are heavily color corrected because it's very difficult to get good light in there, and and of course people smacking into me constantly. So that's a good picture of Riley right there. So yeah, he definitely got the crowd insane, and I was like, wow, this band is fucking insane. I was like, these guys are. There is a lot of energy like I've I'd been to a lot of shows, and I was like, I've never seen anything like this, so yeah, so there's a good collection of pictures I took from that, and there's a nice one. Had to keep that one black and white because the color was so bad. That's what we usually do, turn in black and white. And there's
that other one, the first one.
Oh, this one?
No.
Oh, the first one. Yeah, this is a good one. There's a nice one here. Guy's wearing a Dawkins shirt. Is that a Dawkins shirt?
It looks like
it's a Dawkins shirt. And
right. But you were also in the infamous Slosh Pit.
Oh yeah,
at Psycho.
So yeah, that was another.
Played Psycho 2019.
Yeah, that was another adventure. I probably told you about that one.
Well, they don't know about it.
Yeah.
Tell it again.
Yeah,
I took a
Yeah, we were
a very careful video here because we're standing in a pool. I said a little softer. Just keep it playing a little softer.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, I actually got a good sound for this video. Had a really good, well-balanced sound. Obviously we're kind of far from it. If you guys remember, if you guys were at Psycho, the pool stage was like well raised above the ground. It was not accessible.
Yeah, this is like kind of as close as you could get, really.
Yeah, they just took a big barrier.
The closer you got, the less of a good angle you had.
Yeah, at Psycho, they weren't really tolerating like stage diving or shit like that.
Oh, you couldn't do
happening.
that.
None of that shit was happening.
To compensate all the excited people in the crowd, started a circle pit in like 2 feet of water.
About 2 feet of water. I joined it. I got this urge in my old age to get violent for some reason. Sam stayed put, over in this corner. But over to the right, there was a major... you've seen the pictures. It was all over the internet,
I should have gotten some footage of the slosh pit,
Yeah,
but I was so scared that I was going to drop my phone.
Yes, and you would have. You would have dropped your phone.
Yeah,
I'm glad
not that I went in, but that I just looked at it. But I didn't want to move very much.
Right, yeah, somebody just bumped into you. It was getting pretty crazy. Yeah. So I went in there. I'm like, I'm going to go in this slosh pit, and I figure, it's not that deep water. But as you kind of went around it, the water got deeper, then less. Like as you got closer to the stage, the water got less deep. And then you got a little bit further towards the middle of the beach, the water got maybe like 2 feet, which isn't that much. But if you're getting pushed around and there's a large crowd of people moving, the water's going to get pretty tumultuous. And, someone like me with poor balance is going to fall. And, being in this thing, I fell into that water multiple times. And, it's 2 feet of water. You could drown in 1 foot of water. I'm literally under the water now. And there's crowds of people that could potentially trample me into the water. But no, did they do that? No, each and every time I fell into that water, I would feel a very large person, like a very huge man, grab me by underneath my underarms, and just draw me back up and just like, come on, guy, you're okay.
Well, I think that's the mood at the power trip show.
Yeah, absolutely,
it's a posy mood.
Yeah, no one's gonna kick you down. It's water. Someone could drown. So someone like me, who's
all right,
not good in water.
The final time we got to see Power Trip, was with this lineup. It was in November. At here in New Jersey, Lake Grace, New Jersey.
Yeah, should I play that video? Or should
I didn't know.
Let's keep this one.
Let's keep this going.
Yeah,
We can go on the other one.
Yeah, the ones, the other one's like not that interesting. But
I mean, it's a lot closer, but the sound's terrible.
yeah, this one sounds good.
But like, yeah, I didn't know we were up nice and up front for that one, much closer. Didn't know I knew the verse to Executioner's Tax until I had the microphone in my face.
Riley came for us. We were front and center, so Riley jumped off the stage, jumped literally on us, and just shoved the microphone in our faces. He was like, sing! And everyone else, of course, was jumping in.
I got it.
Yeah.
I know the words.
We got it, and everyone else got it, and that was like their hit song, right? It's like the hit song.
All right.
And everyone was, that was another interesting time. Seeing, you want me to shut this off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just to say, like, yeah, Power Trip was one of my favorite bands. They were, one of the bands to see live for sure. Riley, he took this like intense crossover thrash, and he made it very approachable. I would say, like, I had this posy energy to it. And he got, like you said, he seemed like a slob. He seemed like a kid down the street.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't seem like a rock star at all. He just had like this kind of good guy demeanor about him. That just kind of like emanated off him, and even when doing interviews, you could see it as well. But
he seemed like that guy down the street who you weren't supposed to hang out with. That like shop you ordered stuff from the kung fu catalogs. That's what he seemed like to me. Which would have been a cool person to hang out with.
Maybe your parents wouldn't want to, for some stupid reason, wouldn't want you to. But he would be a cool guy.
Yeah,
and he would never do anything bad. Wrong, or
I would want to hang out.
He'd always
with him.
help you out.
But my parents would be like, he's probably on drugs. Like they probably wouldn't want me to hang out with him, but I probably would though. Yeah.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting is like he was kind of like a left liberal like young guy, but in a very kind of like regular guy way about it. Like he is from Texas. He's not from Austin either. He's from Dallas.
Dallas area, yeah.
And they make this very non-pretentious music, and for me, just like thinking about the whole scene, like it was kind of like a good entry point for like metal bros that love this kind of music. To maybe be a little bit more tolerant and inclusive. Like the times we've seen them live, like Riley would often like shout outs and to welcome like trans and non-binary people, which is very strange to hear when you're you're seeing a band like that sounds like Slayer. So yeah, it kind of seemed like they were going to be the young like modern value Slayer, the non-boomer Slayer.
Yeah, in a world of like of thriving thrash, I would say. Of thriving. This is an age of thriving thrash bands, of neo thrash bands. Ever since like Municipal Waste came back, I think that's been like the thing, and it's been that way. And there's not been a lull in it. That's the thing. I think thrash, the comeback of thrash, it started in the early 2000s. Technically, it started in the early 2000s. It didn't catch steam till maybe 2010. And then it kind of and of course like a lot of like my theory of a lot of like doom and stoner stuff was really the cool thing. But I think thrash and like death metal and black metal has like I think taken over. The more aggressive form of music is like the popular form of metal right now.
Just play this one.
Play this one. But yeah, and Power Trip was at the forefront. Even though they're not one of the oldest bands doing that.
I think that like
from Asbury Park.
I think like Municipal Waste is maybe as big, maybe a little bigger, but just because they have like maybe like 7 years on Power Trip.
Yeah.
Probably a bit more than more like 10.
Yeah.
But I would say, Power Trip was definitely, of all the bands with like that very retro sound and that very aggressive sound, the most popular. And to see how big they got in the past like 4 years is pretty incredible. And it was just like they were gonna be like the next Slayer.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, of course, like we don't know what the status of the band is. It's definitely a little bit too soon, I think, to
I think they can
conjecture. Also, I mean, very sadly, they were also definitely working on the new album, which has been long awaited, since 2017. But yeah, I mean, as far as that, I don't know. Like this band was Riley. He started this band. And it's, they could definitely get someone who sounds a lot like him. Like get the kid from Lowest Creature who sounds exactly like Riley.
They're from Europe, though.
He's definitely someone like he put a lot of thought and he put a lot of himself into the lyrics and into the message of the band. So, like, it's difficult to understand replacing that. Like, it's not like replacing he's not a replaceable part, I guess I would say. Like, Power Trip could continue, but it would be different,
Yeah. And who knows? They might even, like, they could potentially, when a new act get more popular, like it might even send them into more of a, commercial direction. Who knows? But it won't be like. Will it be as good though? Will it be as genuine? I don't know. Probably not.
I don't know, but here we are.
They could potentially, like I said, these guys were going to be the next. Like they were going to be headlining.
I'm not obviously. There's
Blazers.
much more of the band than just Riley. Like
Right.
he didn't write the riffs, and
Right.
like listen to this riff right now.
Right.
But
this is coming from.
He was a very big presence as far as like just the whole feel of the band. Like obviously their live energy, so much comes from him. And thankfully Power Trip is one of the most videoed bands on the planet, I think.
Yeah.
Both professional and, as you can see from our video, extremely amateur. I personally would recommend, if you want a Power Trip fix, would be to watch anything of them at This Is Hardcore on the Hate 56 channel. Although they don't have any like super recent videos on there, but there's like so many videos of them playing like huge festivals that are like beautifully shot. So yeah, that's what I would recommend if you're want to get a semblance of the live show again.
Yeah, so this show you're seeing is the Asbury Park show. They were opening for High on Fire, which obviously those bands obviously get along, but like I feel like High on Fire really had to really freaking like destroy the place to follow these guys. Not that High on Fire never doesn't do that.
Well, High on Fire will just decimate
you just do that.
will melt your brain with volume, so you're gonna leave stunned.
Yeah. But when you have these guys opening for you, you have to be on your feet. Even if you're High on Fire.
I saw Matt Pike's statement on this. He said, "Why Matt Riley? I called him a little shit."
Okay, yeah, good. Well, I think,
but like in a good Matt Pike way.
Matt Pike is like an old man. Well, he's not that old. That's the thing. Matt Pike looks like he's 70. He's only like 48 or something like that. Like he's not that old. But life was he was hard. No, life wasn't hard on him. He was hard to life.
Yes.
He was hard on his life.
It's.
I think they're probably different personalities. I mean, I feel like Matt Pike is a little based. I can't
don't want to get into that right now.
But I feel like he is.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll be very interested to see what happens to Power Trip after this. Like, are they just going to be like that band that got stopped right in their prime?
I don't think they could. No, I don't think they could stop. I think that they're going to at least try. The thing is, it's so early in their career. Technically in their fame career anyway. Of them being popular because they are. In the metal world. I mean, you had a picture of like Post Malone hanging out with them, like the Post Malone guy was like, "Hey, you're and you have like Trivium covering them, so they made a dent.
Well, they
in the
opened
mainstream.
for Trivium,
right? So there you go. But to even open for Trivium, I mean, you have to be like pretty big to even you can't be some shit little band like these guys, that band that opened for them. What were they called?
They're not a shit little band.
But they're not nearly.
They're a nice. No, they're not.
They're not going to open for Trivium.
They were out there grinding anyway.
They're not going to open for Trivium.
But,
also, Power Trip kind of had a, even though like I think they were pretty lighthearted, they kind of had a serious message. I think their song, their theme was serious. I suppose like Municipal Waste is kind of a funny
Municipal
band.
Waste is just like party
band.
all the time. Like Power Trip definitely has some funnish songs, like Crossbreakers, pretty good time. But even Crossbreakers got kind of like a message to it.
It sounds mean. Like the music doesn't sound fun. Like it doesn't sound fun.
But like this song Firing Squad, it's got that riff, like the breakdown riff. That's kind of fun. But
it sounds like classic, crossover, thrash. Like it sounds like serious, like mid '80s classic crossover, like DRI kind of stuff. And they just captured that. They captured that better than anyone, and just put more energy into it. And like I said, like Riley was this like everyday, guy in sweatpants. He was like every guy, and he wasn't trying to be like this cool hipster guy. Like I said, they're from Dallas, which is not like the cool town in Texas. They weren't trying to be the hipster band, like it ended. I wouldn't even say. I'd say Power Trip is transcends that. Like the hipster metal thing. I think Power Trip is literally for everyone.
But the hipsters like them too.
Oh sure. Oh no, they definitely do. But everyone likes them.
But like a lot of I don't think even like with the really cool people like thrash is that popular right now.
Yeah.
But Power Trip was the exception.
Yeah.
They people still boundaries. Like Power Trip.
Yeah, I think they crossed all boundaries.
Yeah. Anyway, so in the aftermath of this,
other pictures we took on our phone.
From
that show.
So, Power Trip went on to have a #1 album in the aftermath of this.
Yes. So from my God, I always got to name the articles from the website Metal Sucks More Than Here Lies Metal. That's what we call them. Yeah, Power Trip #1 on I think it was on Apple. Was it only on Apple Music or was it Apple Music charts? Which I don't know how I don't know how legit Apple Music is.
I guess we can thank Greg Gutfield because he urged people to do this on Fox News.
Oh, really?
So I guess
actually because of
my stepfather-in-law when it did that, or my stepfather.
Was it actually Greg Gutfield that actually might have made this happen? I thought maybe people heard this and they're like, oh, let me check out this band Power Trip.
They're like, whoa.
Let's see. Look at this. They beat this has got to mean something. Like they look. I mean, they two songs beat out Metallica. Does that mean just Metallica's Black Album? Metallica. I guess so.
No, but pretty major publications have picked up on this. Like I listened to the New York Times Music Podcast. Did an hour-long show about Riley.
There you go. Total mainstream.
I mean,
outlets.
It was funny because they played clips of the music and they're like, all right, we know this is a little bit more intense than you're used to here.
They're like, I guess we have to pay attention to this though. Like as if they ever would. But yeah, that's how would a dent like Riley left in the music world. It's almost it's ground shaking in the whole metal world. Like he was the next guy in metal. Really, he was going to be the next big thing in the metal, even in the mainstream metal world, like the radio metal world. Anyway, like there really isn't an MTV metal world anymore, obviously. But like metal's powered by a lot of like radio stations these days, and a lot of websites, and he was definitely all over those. So these guys are just meteoric in their rise, and it's just shocking that this happened to someone who But let's hope they I think they will try to continue this. I don't know how well that's gonna go, but
I honestly don't know how I feel about it.
I think they have to try. That's all.
I certainly want all the guys in the band to still have this project if they want it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? What if it just breaks up into different bands, But hopefully they try this and get someone. I mean, they could potentially get someone that could do this. I think it could be. It's not impossible. I mean, but they can't. But they should not try to clone him. Like there's a lot, and I don't think Power Trip is the kind of band that would do that. Like there's a lot of bands, like famous bands that would literally try to recreate their singer.
I mean, yeah, that could be again. I said get the guy from Lowest Creature to join the band. And yeah, he would sound just like Riley.
Yes.
And you could even get someone that would be as exciting to watch jump around as Riley.
I don't know if you want that, though.
It'd be really tough to... It would feel a little, I feel like, hollow.
Disrespectful.
I don't know about disrespectful, but it would feel like hollow because it's they're singing these words that were probably, very meaningful for Riley.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do Riley songs. That's kind of weird.
And they wouldn't have the message, They would just kind of be aping everything. And it would be kind of empty. So I guess if they were going to continue, they would need to get a new whole person, and it would change the band. It would change the band. So
they'd probably have to change the band though. They'd have to try whatever goes with a new singer. And to have him singing Riley songs is going to be weird, but they're probably going to have to do it though. They're going to probably have to sing Riley songs. Those are their songs that people like.
If they don't, they might as well just reform.
I mean, yeah,
which is also an option.
Yeah, that's a thing. Just start over that way. I mean, they definitely have
I'm sure they have a lot of material written for this new album they have coming up.
Yeah, they have some leverage with the record labels as well. They could prove, they have a stepping stone. They're not just starting from scratch. I think if they do something
I'm sure, people would be very interested
people would be interested in
supporting that.
Well, of course, the members, who could name any member of Power Trip besides Riley, probably
I can name them all.
I mean, you could, but I think probably a lot of people can't, so that would take a little bit of work. They'd have to be like, oh, this guy's from Power. They can't just be like, that guy, one of them, his name is Ibanez, which I think is funny. He's the lead guitarist, so his name is Ibanez, which is funny. But yeah, it'd have to be like that guy from Power Trip, So, you'd have to kind of spoon feed it to people.
Just want to say, rest in peace, Riley.
Yes. You've many good memories from the 3 shows. We didn't, I haven't gone to a million shows, but went to 3 shows of yours, and they were all memorable. So, all right, folks. So, yeah, that's what we have this week. And when there's more news, we'll give you more news. All right.